Hello, welcome to Dissident Canada. My name is Tyler, and today I will be talking about the by-election results for Battle River Crowfoot. I would like to congratulate Mr. Polyev for getting 40,000 and a little bit votes out of 50,000 some odd votes, winning by a 70% margin, uh, with less than 66% of the available registered voters not or voters that showed up to vote. Good job on you. You won in the one of the safest conservative ridings in Canada. Congratulations. I think you may have even broke a record with the percentage that you won by. Good on you. Um, to be completely serious, like it was the expected result. I know I said he could have had trouble, and he could have. Um, there seemed to be quite a bit of push on the internet behind one of the independent candidates, which is interesting to note, but nothing really came of it. Maybe that person had money squared away and was good at marketing or, more nefarious things. But nothing came of it. Pierre won. Good for him. Again, he was able to win an election. Not the easiest thing to do in Canada. And he won it by an impressive margin. Like, again, quite impressive. But then again, the average win margin in that riding for conservatives is like 60%. So whatever. I think this election shows a lot of things. One, is that Canadians are very receptive to, how am I going to put this? Picking the winner. Like they very much want to be on the winning side when it comes to an election, and to break that vote pattern, you need to have someone that is viable in the sense that they have to give the voter a damn good reason to vote for them. Um, and none of the other candidates really did that. Like the Liberal and NDP candidates got the Liberal and NDP vote. Like they got the leftist vote. The one I'd find interesting is the independent Bonnie Critchley, who got 5,013 votes, almost 10% of the total, as an independent. And she was running very similar to Pierre from what I saw, like against separation, but against the Liberals. And she really hammered on Pierre for just, kind of being airdropped in. But Pierre has name recognition, which goes a long way with a party that has a support apparatus system to help their candidates win. They can pour money into that. And you really didn't see, at least I didn't see online because I don't live anywhere near Alberta. I live close to Silicon Valley, Canada. Literally, if before traffic got completely effed in my region, I could like in 15 minutes drive to Google and University of Waterloo and what was RIM and all those other think tank like places. Now it's horrible. Um, so I'm like, and even still, my area votes blue for the most part. Uh, so Doesn't matter. Like the people here are relatively conservative, but it's tough to gauge. They're conservative, not in the way of they kind of want more of a populist candidate, but none has really been viable before them. They want a Trump, but they get Pierre instead. Is But that's basically all of Canada. All right, like the conservative voter wants someone Trumpian, maybe more like JD Vance or say Viktor Orban, but yeah. Anyways, I just get back to the topic at hand. Um, it just like the third parties, like the United Party of Canada, People's Party of Canada, Green Party of the Libertarian, Christian Heritage Party. These parties do not present themselves as a viable alternative. They don't separate themselves out into something 100% new, and they don't know how to market themselves. So they have quite abysmal showings, even though, okay, the United Party of Canada did fairly well. Like, they're right on the heels of the NDP. Like, that's really good for them. And I hope, I wish them all the success. I know nothing about their party, but I'd like competition in the election, and we really don't have it. Like, I spent saying, hey, yeah, I like the People's Party of Canada, but as I said, the entire time, the entire last election cycle, they are going to have issues. They don't know how to market. I think maybe eventually they'll end up like the AFD or, God, what's Nigel Farage's party in the UK? They have a really good chance of getting there. The problem is Maxime Bernier and his team do not know how to win elections outside of the establishment apparatus that they are used to. And they do not bring in people into their inner circle that have ideas on how to do that. That is their biggest problem. And like, and this is everybody, every politician in Canada, they do not run on, I don't know how many of you people remember this or were watching the 2016 United States election. If you look at Trump harnessed and energized the American people's anger against the elite. All right? He did it so effectively that if America had not been hyper partisan at that point in time, and you had a fair media and blah, 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 he would have done better than Reagan. Like, in every respect. But then again, Reagan could not win in a 2016 electorate. Reagan could not win in a 2020 electorate. Reagan sure as shit could not win in a 2024 electorate, or most likely in the 2028 electorate as well. So Trump did something remarkable. But like, nobody's understood that, and like, you get people leaning into stuff that they think matters, and maybe it does. Like, specifically with the PPC, and when Maxime Bernier brings up economics, he talks about the gold standard. Nobody votes on that. There are other more important issues. I have a video that shows why that's retarded in the first place, but that doesn't get you to vote for someone. Like, saying, oh, I'm going to be fiscally responsible doesn't energize someone to vote for you. You can get a small percentage of the vote, but you need to be like, what are you going to actually do? Don't just say, hey, I'm going to be an adult and look at the checkbook and balance it. You have to say, well, I'm going after these people who have destroyed you and your family's lives. And the PPC does a bad job of that. Pierre does a horrendous job of that. But you know, like this just election shows that name recognition and party support does a lot to win. And just this static nature of voters. It takes a hell of a lot to move a like ancestral voting pattern to shift away from that. There are ancestral voting patterns. Um, for example, there's like three different ones that I will say. So Ukrainians that came over pre 1930 vote fairly conservative. Okay, Ukrainians that come out vote they came over after 1930 vote extremely against communism. All right, that's the and their descendants do too. Ukrainians that came over after 1945 vote extremely fascistic in nature, and their family does as well. Okay, the Ukrainians who came over after the fall of Berlin also vote very fascistic in nature, but they vote very pro-globalist, and that continues to this time frame with like Ukrainian expats coming to Canada. If they are qualified to vote, they vote very fascistic and very pro-globalist. That is, it's a historic pattern. It's interesting. It's like the Chinese population that came over, that escaped Mao, that survived Mao and then later escaped him. Okay, they vote very anti-communist all over North America, and they're very sensitive to anything that smells like a whiff of communism. But it's very hard to shift vote patterns. Like you have to have a severe break with the party, and the Conservative Party of Canada is very much setting themselves up for that, because Pierre's team, all right, in the last election cycle and leading up to it, proved they have no ability to adapt on the fly. What were they running on? They were running on, first they thought they would be running against Trudeau and they would have an inherent victory because Trudeau was despised. They didn't even think of the possibility that they would sub out Trudeau for someone else. They didn't think he would relinquish power for some odd reason. It's not that Trudeau relinquished power; he was forced out. They didn't think that was a possibility enough to prepare for. They couldn't adapt to Carney in any meaningful way. Like their puppets were trying to use like Mark's Carnage, if you remember that, as a insult, but it's too hard to say, and it's kind of, it's not easily understandable. Now, maybe this is because I came up with a better one of saying Carney trash, because that makes a connection in your head, because basically everybody's gone to a carnival or a fair at some point and been scammed. It's much better. Much better. At least in my opinion. And then when Donald Trump put in the side of Mark Carney, Donald Trump did a lot of favors for Mark Carney in, going the way he did with the tariffs, made it Orange Man bad. That did do a lot of work. It wasn't the reason Mark Carney won. The reason Mark Carney won is because Pierre and his team could not adapt to anything. They had no idea how to deal with those curveballs. And now we're going into, a parliamentary session in about a month where Carney has basically kept a lid all summer. He could have been doing a whole bunch of stuff. I know there was, there's some conferences with the premiers and blah 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 talking about whatever bill that was to that would allow him to ram through uh, basically nation building uh, infrastructure projects by saying, it's good for the national security, therefore we don't have to invoke uh, laws that are already on the book and rights that are given to us by the Charter of Rights and Freedoms to get this shit done. I just, it's so dumb. It is so dumb that they did that. Smart, because it allows them to defy basically all the rules, but like the fact that Carney hasn't done anything, I made that video of earlier in the week about, well, maybe here's Carney's game plan, and it's bad, but he could also just be waiting for parliamentary session to resume, and didn't want to give any ammo to Pierre. Like, it could have been a smart move of just, well, I haven't made any overt mistakes to give Pierre a win in any meaningful fashion, so just do nothing. Or Mark Carney's lazy. It could be that. But, like, Pierre came out the other day, just before the by-election was to take place, and said, the Conservatives' priority this coming parliamentary session is going to be to roll back the EV mandates for 2030. And it's like, really? That's your biggest priority? Something that the market is going to solve itself. Like, the car companies are just going to stop fucking selling shit in Canada if the mandate stays. Like, the only company out there that could even come close to meeting it is Toyota. And go look at Toyota's product stack, right? It's like all EV shit. Go to a Toyota dealer. Their EV shit ain't selling. It's not, especially at the prices. Like, holy shit. The cheapest Toyota is like $32,000 or $34,000 Canadian in my neck of the woods. Like, brand new car. And it's their fucking hatchback. It's a Corolla hatchback. It's over double what it should be selling for. It's ridiculous. And the EV is even more expensive than that. It's double that. Almost. Like, it's $60,000 for the bottom of a barrel EV Corolla hatchback. It's ridiculous. No, they're not. It's not happening. Like, Toyota will pull out of Canada before that thing goes through. The mandate, goes through. There's also been multiple meetings between Carney and the auto manufacturers for multiple different reasons. One of them is tariffs, and the other is, this EV thing isn't going to happen. We're not selling shit in this country. We will just pull out. We'll lose the market. We don't care. We'll just sell in America and make more money. So, but it's not, hey, pipelines, which I think gives a hint. Like, the fact that the priority isn't, hey, we're going to get some pipelines built, it gives a hint that there's a really good possibility that Carney has disseminated information out there that pipelines are going to be built. Because if Pierre's not running on it, why not? Like, he's not saying this is the priority. We kind of need some pipelines, even though right now market conditions are not in that favor because oil is not doing so hot. I mean, it's good for us because, price increases are heavily dictated by energy inputs, and if energy is coming down, the problem is energy is not coming down just because of there's a lot of supply in the market. Energy is coming down because there's a lack of demand and there's a lot of supply coming on the market. It's both, but that demand thing you never want to see. So, like, Pierre's just going to set up his party for failure. Like, if he comes in to Parliament and doesn't make every vote a vote of no confidence, like a vote of the record that makes it a vote of no confidence, he is not representing his constituents properly, nor is he doing the politically best thing for his party. He needs to make deals with at least the bloc to eliminate Carney. Like, that's what he needs to do. Which, by the way, all right, the Liberals have a minority government. Who the hell is propping them up at this point? They don't have a coalition. Not formally. Just nobody's voted them out. It has made a vote of the record on any of the votes. Like, there's some weird parliamentary bullshit going on. It could be, hey, everybody's bought and paid for, and this is just what the globalists want. I highly doubt that, though, because, again, each party is backed by different power factions. Those power factions want to get ahead, learn about how nobility operated in times of feudalism and prior to that. You could specifically zoom in and look at the senator class in the either the Roman Republic or in the Empire days. Okay, if you really want to get a good look at power factions, you could do that. You could also look basically throughout the entire history of England where there has been nobility. France is another good case study that you could do. Holy Roman Empire, also very good. The Russian Empire as well. It's all about getting just that little bit further ahead and freaking over your opposition power faction. That is how nobility works. Like, nobility will spend the equivalent of millions of dollars to get 1% over on the opposing power faction. Okay? And they'll call that a glorious victory. So I don't buy that, because, like, politicians, for the most part, and the political party apparatus are some of the most narcissistic, power hungry crazies on earth. The only people that you could say come close are, like, those top 1% influencers out there. They're more narcissistic and more power hungry and up their own ass, but definitely not to the same levels. Because politics is a game that plays with people's lives and very much is dealt in blood. May not seem like it as much nowadays, but that is what's always on the line. So Pierre won a resounding victory. That's fine and dandy, but he just sets himself up for failure. Like, his team has no game plan and has shown no ability, even if they sub out oh gosh, what's her name? The equivalent of chief of staff, or the person who runs the Conservative Party campaigns. Like, I think they've subbed her out now. So what? Like, who here in Canada knows how to effectively win a right-wing campaign that the party will allow them to do? That's the big thing. Like, I could probably very easily win a campaign at the federal level for the Conservative Party of Canada if I was able to pick their leader, or completely able to reform them and get a very good speechwriter that would do what I tell them to. Like, it's not that hard at the Conservative Party level to win in Canada. The problem is the power factions backing the party make it impossible. It's very similar to the Republicans down in the United States. Before Trump came into the political scene, the Republicans were a dying brand. Their party was looking like it would collapse by now, is how bad they were doing. Now they still have strongholds, and they probably would have held on into those strongholds, but more and more states would have become swing states, would have become purple, not red, and they'd have serious problems. And it's because, like, the country club Republican runs that party. And it's very similar in Canada. The problem is we don't have a Trumpian or more like a Viktor Orban figure. We have Pierre, who instead of running on the issues, picks some issue that is tangentially related to the issues and softens that to a degree that everybody's like, oh, you're blowing hot air. I don't care. What have you done for me? What are you going to do for me? Oh, you're not going after the political party, the political operatives that destroyed my life? Why should I vote for you? Like, that's why there's low voter turnout in Canada. It's because a whole 30% or so of the electorate is being ignored. Their anger is being ignored. And it's only going to grow and create more problems going forward. So, that's the video for today. See you tomorrow with something. I have no idea. I'm thinking Friday I'll talk about what's going on with the Ukraine and Russia negotiations. There is some hope coming around, but I think Trump is going to have to really seriously strong-arm Europe. Otherwise, the deal will implode and it will end in blood, which I have been saying now for a while. So, until tomorrow, have a good day, and see you.